you take me there. Do you get? So back to what she's.
You can't do anything in your house. You're not married.
No, no, not. Okay, but I mean, what I'm saying is be intentional. Know the person as she said, right? It's like I don't eat McDonald's, so you can't take me there. I won't enjoy it. Do you understand? So
Okay, we have another
exactly.
question. Thank you very much.
It's not really a question. Well, it kind of is, but it's not. I feel like what they meant by that question was like when you look at somebody and their appearance, you yourself can already tell like this person is 1, 2, 3. This person doesn't shop at Valley Village, they shop at Nike and stuff like that, right? And so if you want to go date somebody that you can see their appearance and what they wear and the brand they have, that's what I think they mean by somebody that is expensive. You know, because if you're willing to marry somebody, then you have to provide for them. And you see the things that they can provide already for themselves are expensive. And if maybe you yourself don't know that, oh, maybe my pocket cannot handle it, then that's where they choose to say, oh, they're too expensive, when really they cannot afford it. So I feel like that's the miscommunication.
Is it an assumption or is it facts? Because, like, if you see someone on Sunday in their Sunday best, they're not going to look like crap. They're going to look nice and put together because why not? But if you are in their department and you have department meetings and you get to talk to them and you see that they're just regular people, like, are you actually making time to talk to people, or are you just assuming that from what you see, they are expensive? Yeah. Like, I might have 3 pieces of clothing, but I iron them and do them nice. Like, it doesn't have to mean that I am expensive or anything. It just means that you have not taken the effort to get to know me any bit better than me.
Yeah. So like I'll balance that. You don't look from the face value. Actually, you might be actually very wrong. You need to learn to know the person. Like some people, their parents fund their expenses and they have a lot of money to fly around because their dad gives them a lot of money. But like they're also okay with a cool guy that doesn't really have much. So maybe you need to know the person before you judge the person. Thank you very much. Please go ahead. You can be heard.
Yeah, it's actually in relation to what we're saying. I had a guy at work. He's not African. He's not black. So he looked at me and he said he started dating a black girl recently. And I was like, you guys are so expensive. Because his girlfriend asked him to pay for her nails and she asked him to use hair. And I was actually very shocked because I was like, why would you say that to me? And for the whole week, I was thinking about it because I was like, why would he say that to me? I felt very insulted as well because I was like, why would you assume what I'm wearing is from a man? And why would you say to a whole nation that we're expensive? Like, what does that mean? Are you telling your other friends that, oh, you have to be rich to date an African girl? And then I came back to him the following week and I was like, where's your girlfriend from? And I started educating him. I was like, no, it's not actually like that. And this is the thing that leads to other people passing this wrong information. And it's making us girls begin to feel that there should be a man to take care of us in this kind of sense. If it's not coming from love, then don't do it for anybody. Because it's like, we're not properties. And guys, it actually applies to everybody. It's a wrong mindset that both parties are beginning to grow up with. Because I don't want my younger brother to grow up and feel like, oh, I have to have this amount of money to date this particular girl. Because the girl might not be thinking that, but someone has led him to believe that. And then the auntie somewhere is like, oh, that boy must be rich for me to date him. No, auntie, that's not the truth. If you like him and he likes you and you guys are Christian, date yourself. And if he gives you this to do your nails because he deeply loves you, appreciate it, replicate something, do something great for him, and move on with your life. We are not living here so that somebody will be caring for one person in a very superficial manner. That's it.
Yeah. You have something to say? Okay, who has something to say?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I just remembered something like back home when during Valentine's the guy would do a lot and the lady would just buy him a pair of boxers or something. See, and I said, still going back to what I said, should we be real or should we politically correct? The truth is, why do you think, now just this secular, a lot of South African, Kenyan women prefer Nigerian men because Nigerian men spend on their women. And Nigerian women are used to being spent on. Like, come on, you have guys that literally foot the bills of their girlfriend. They put their girlfriends on an allowance, a monthly allowance. Where I'm from, it's the truth. It's the truth. Where I'm from, okay, sorry. Where I'm from, you don't call a party.
We said where we're from, like where he's
from. So that's
so
I'm speaking from the.
thing.
It's not general. From in context of no, she was saying black women.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, black women obviously are from from where I'm from. Maybe I don't know if that's permitted into the society here, black women here, if that's it also, but
No, in fact, some girls have more money. Let's be
exactly.
real.
So the truth is, yes, a lot of people expect to be spoiled. So he may have had an experience of the lady wanting to be spoiled by the guy, and what's being spoiled is, I just take care of me. You
Yeah.
understand? And some might demand, some might like stylishly just poke fun. Like, see, you can't even fix my nails for me. You can't even buy me hair. In those kind of indirect quizzes, buy me hair. That's what it means. Fix my nails.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. So, if we are to be sincere with each other, that is actually sometimes. But there are some unusual ones, not unusual. There are some normal ones like you who would say no, it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
But the truth is, largely, that's what it is.
So I would balance that. Like for real, here in Canada, no girl is even stressing you that much. I'm not saying they don't want to be loved, but like every of these girls are professionals. They are, pursuing their futures, doing a lot of things. And that is why we have this meeting, and we'll continue to have it every season. The issue is a lot of guys think, oh, not American girls, they will kill me. It's not true. You guys just calm down. If I'm in Nigeria, I will behave like that too, like what he said. Yes, I will put him on whatever is happening in my environment now. I will enjoy the grace too. But right here, like married people split bills, if you care to know. So you don't need to have all the money. Nobody is putting pressure on you. You don't even want to kill your guy. Like you want him to do all the work and pay all the money. It's not that we don't want it, but it's not working here. That's not what works here. Like for real. In Nigeria, you just cross your leg now. And then the man of the house will do the thing. But it doesn't really happen here for real. Because everybody is working, bringing their bits to the table. It could be 60-40. In fact, sometimes, from the woman's side, it's 70. There's sometimes your if your husband kind of run out of a job, like, do you want to chase him away? There are lots of times that lady have to cover up. Ask your parents now. You will even see a trace of it. Why are we thinking above our heads? We have parents. We know what happened. You know when mommy covered up for the school fees. You know when mommy put some money in your hand and daddy said, the way men do when they do, they just raise their eyes and so let me tell you, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. That's why that's why everybody is building their women to help the man. So nobody is putting any pressure on you, not even black girls. But one of black girls' love language is money. I'm not even lying. One of them, I'm not saying it's everything. Labake, no, I want to ask you one simple question. If your guy says close your eyes, and they blindfold you, come. And then there's a reveal of Range Rover 2023. So what would you say?
I would say,
You say, oh my God.
I know what is in his hand, his pocket, because we make that communication.
Yeah.
So when I see a Range Rover, it's either he just knocked one jackpot, because I don't know why we are buying a Range Rover.
Okay.
So we have that mutual connection so much. So I would be very grateful for a Range Rover.
But you ask, where did you get the money from?
No, not like it depends. If I'm dating Bill Gates, Range Rover is just like a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah. So you can see that she likes money too, right? Yeah. Eventually, we all like money. Yeah. So, but balancing it, like Chigoze was part of the reason why we raised this meeting. He was big on, these girls are too expensive. These girls ask for a lot of things. These girls, I'm not putting him on the spot. I'm not putting him on the spot, but like we had the conversation. And what I said one day was that, have you heard these girls out? You are not even sure. And that's why we are saying in our mind now that even the girls, they're not ready to cut off your neck. Comfort. Say your mind. If you are interested or not, say it. And let's move from there. So nobody is even giving you any burden per se. So yeah, let's move to another question. Okay.
I just going to say, but in the first dating, like when you first start dating, most girls would like to be shown that you care. Like, obviously, you know the whole McDonald's thing that this started off of. Like later, like you've been dating 2 years, sure, you can go to McDonald's, that's fine. But when you first start dating,
Impression.
most girls would like it's not really. I don't think I'm speaking generally now, but I don't think it's about like the monetary value per se, but we want to be shown
Intentional.
that you care and you put thoughts into the things that you're doing when you approach us. And like the first, I don't know, maybe an arbitrary, maybe the first 3 months, I don't know, that's pretty arbitrary.
Yeah.
But like put intention into everything that you're doing. A picnic outside is better than McDonald's. Like just thoughts, small things. Like nobody's really thinking. Counting
Men,
the
I hope you are
zeros
learning.
behind whatever you're doing. It's just the thoughts. Be intentional about what you're doing and communicate. Show that you actually care. And like, oh, like maybe this can look small, but it took you 2 weeks to plan this whole thing. Communicate that and like just show that you care. And most girls' effort, and most girls will be fine. It's not really about the zeros behind whatever you are spending.
It's not about the zeros behind whatever you're spending. You have one.
Very short, very short. So I think that the key here, like she just mentioned, is moderation. So if you are someone, everybody knows where God has. All fingers are not equal, right? So if you're at a certain position in life, you cannot, when you get a boyfriend or a fiance, you can't start acting like you just got a job. That is how. So that mindset it's just, we should as women go into scriptures and look at what the Bible calls us. That mindset is very wrong. You are still in, say, university, you've not gotten your first job, but then you are looking for someone to bankroll your fingernails every week. Do you even need that? You don't need that. And when we are talking about McDonald's, you know this man that you love, the man loves you. You should know where he's coming from, right? You cannot be comparing. It's social media that has caused these things. Everybody's life is so open. You cannot be comparing your life to a man and a woman in their 30s that are working in PwC or KPMG, and you are just finishing school and you're looking for bone straight. These things are like, go and work for yourself, and that is why we don't find those men. They are there, they are there, but they are not going to look for a woman who doesn't know how to build. It is true, because that guy said African women. That thing is not just random. It's because there's a truth to it. So let us all of us here, let us collectively be the ones that we are going to change it. We are strong women. We will make money. We will build with our husbands, with our men, and we will be respected.
Thank you very much, Labake. Like my mentor told me, be the CEO you want to marry. And I went for that. So yeah, another session we have now is the panelists sharing a bit of their life with us. It's going to be just questions directly thrown to them by my humble self. So we're going to go from there. We have Mr. Tolu. I don't know if you know me, but I know you very well. Do you think I know you that much?
Well, it's possible.
Okay. So I read something in your toasts before you got married, and that thing is not even my marriage, it's not my wedding, but that thing did not leave me. Like, you said something, you said you didn't have any idols in your heart when you were searching for a wife, that you were just plain minded and you were hoping that God leads you. Like, I can't say that for myself. Like, a lot of idols that I had to deal with, like, God had to take me through stages to crash, like TDH, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just too much. Like, at a time, God said, maybe you mold your kind of man, that kind of thing. And I think it's a level. It's a level for you to not have idol in your heart. Because I don't know, I want to throw the question to you, but it's a deeper level for single people. Not to have, because the first thing you do as a single guy is, oh, this is the kind of person I like, and then you start building on it, and you build on it to a point that God, that kind of person is not on earth, yeah. So I want to ask you directly, where did you get to that stage that you literally had no idols in your heart, and even when God eventually wanted to give you someone, God gave you a beautiful damsel. So, like, if you say you don't have idol, yeah, and you have a fine girl beside you, like, we want to see the correlation. Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I'll start from. I'm privileged and lucky enough to come from a strong Christian background, home.
Correct.
Just a little bit, 1 to 5, 10 seconds. So I grew up in Deeper Life Bible Church. For those of us that know that church,
Nice.
my father is a pastor, solid guys.
Mm.
And there's a song that is usually sung in that church. And this song says, "I don't want an idol here in my heart." Like that's the song. And what it means is, don't create an idol, something you look up to, something you want to. Don't do that. Now, my father, when he was like looking out for a woman, my mom, he said he went for 3 days dry fast and all that, and he just walked up and just, it wasn't a strong Christian. In fact, he was in White Garment Church at the time when my mom was a Muslim. I don't know if that still happens, but at least it happened for them. And he said, just go somewhere one day, and he just saw my mom and said, that's it. So I said, okay, that's fine. Now, back to me. If there's one thing I've prayed very keenly about in my life, all through when I was born again, before I got born again, that is, just direct me. Just lead me. Because I've seen how bad marriages can affect human lives.
True.
I was in high school, lower high school, GS1, GS2, and I was with a family. My dad got transferred out of Lagos to another place. So I had to stay back with someone before going to boarding house and all that. And these people literally, they fight on who will eat the head of a fish. They'll fight on where you press the toothpaste. Like, why would that cause fight between a husband and a wife? Like, you press the toothpaste at the top or underneath. Like, people fight on that. And I said, that's trouble. I don't want that. If there's one thing I don't want, I don't want that. The man eventually died of HIV. Yeah, because the marriage had the issues. He had to sleep around and all that. And
Bad marriages. Effects of bad marriages.
it's true. And he died. In fact, he was in our house before he now went somewhere. And I think that was the month he died. So if there's nothing that is in my head, God, I don't want my marriage to be messed up. Because, so I don't want a figure, this is what I want it to be like. I'm blessed to come from a home of beautiful women. My younger sisters are very fine. My mom is very beautiful, loving and all that. My wife knows that. I said no. Initially, I was like, my wife has to be as smart as my younger sister, has to be as caring as my mom and all that. But eventually I said, come on. If God wanted that person, God would have created one person with all those traits. You won't find that in just one single person. So I just said, so God was able to help me to take that order out of my mind. And I just kept praying, kept believing, kept praying. And that was how I continued all through till I was in church that day, and I was praying. I look up. Honestly, that's what, just look up, and I saw this beautiful lady in one abaya walking down the stairwell, and I said, wow. If you can't, that's her.
Hey.
See, I ran that day. I didn't know her name. I didn't know where she was from. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know she was older than me, younger than me. I didn't know one thing about her, honestly. I had not seen her before. And I inquired and said, okay, Auntie Ayini. All right then. And that's just, so in a nutshell, I didn't have an idea of who pictorially what it should be, fine, fair. Honestly, I had none of that. I just hinged on prayers, God choosing 100%.
Yeah. So what I could, please, a round of applause for him. Yeah. So what I got from that is that he had a time that he initially had. If you look at the story, there was a time he had, but as he grew more in God, he kept dropping those things and now allowed God to lead. So I just want to know that every other person's situation is not peculiar to you alone, you know. So if you have an idol now, it's fine, but you will get to a point that, and move yourself to that point that you start, diffusing those things and allowing more of God, because He loves you more than you love yourself. Thank you very much. I want to ask some simple questions from Funto. Funto, I know you a bit, and I feel, I'm a very impatient person in a way, and when people have 7 years relationship, I'm always like, wow, you guys try to. I can't, and sometimes too, I want to tell myself that maybe I didn't find the right person to trust. That was why I think, oh, it's such a long time, because you have to give me reasons to really stay with you for that long. I'm not here to waste my time. And then Funto was back here, had this guy in Nigeria. We always say, Funta, who is that guy? Because if I get low, let's look for one guy for you. And he said, he's in Nigeria. There was a time I must say, I have a guy for you. That kind of thing. And so we're always putting pressure on your girl here. So how was the pressure like? And how were you able to do this? This is such a big deal. I don't know, you came to school here, you had a guy back in Nigeria, you sustained the relationship, you got married, and the guy moved here with you for now. We don't know his plans.
It's permanent.
Hey, in Jesus' name, amen. So how were you able to do this? Because it's a lot. I want to hear from you.
Okay, so we did long distance for 3 years, and then we've been married for almost 2 years. So he just came 3 weeks ago. So that's almost 5 years long distance.
Wow.
So
wow.
And then before I left Nigeria, so we had dated for just 6 months before I left Nigeria. So the thing about, as Tolu was saying, so that I didn't have idols, and that was similar to me too. So it was just a thing of God direct me to, because I can be very indecisive in life, right? Because I don't know, it happens to me that if you have too many options, it confuses me. So right from when I was young, if I never used to pray anything, me too, I used to pray that thing a lot, that God, you must choose my husband for me. So as soon as, for me, this is my own story. So as soon as I knew in my heart that this was the person for me, right? I didn't even get to know him. We probably just spoke for 1 or 2 weeks very well. And then I just told him yes. There was no... I started knowing him when I started dating him. Because I was that confident in God, basically, because that's something I've prayed all my life, and I didn't expect him to now mislead me when the time came. So that made it easier, to be honest, because both of us would say it when I was living in Nigeria, then this has to work. That was just all we kept telling ourselves. Because the pressure was too much. Even when I was living in Nigeria, you should go and do court wedding, go and do introduction. If not, he will abandon you. He will do this, all those type of things. And I'm I'm not ready to marry now. It's not compulsory. So both of us actually proposed in our mind that, if not for anything, we'll put these people to shame. And this thing will work. So we kept telling ourselves, this thing will work. So I would say one of the things that helped us, aside from praying and, holding on to God, I trust him so much. I wasn't going to be bothered, maybe he didn't pick my call and stuff. Is he with a woman? Is he with someone? Because that would make it more difficult, There are sometimes, I will even lie, there are sometimes maybe I'm doing an exam, because I'm someone that if I'm doing something, I'm so into it. I can be doing an exam for almost a week. We might not necessarily do video call and stuff, but that doesn't, both of us, is not going to be bothered that this one is probably already talking to someone for the past 1 week. So the trust was really deep, to be honest. So that's a very key factor. It was really deep, because I would tell myself that until when I catch him red-handed, I'm not going to believe anything. Do you understand? So because I cannot be pressuring myself. It's already a lot to try to keep up with 5 hours time difference, trying to call someone, and the next thing, I'm trying to read my book. I'm thinking if someone is with a girl. I have other things to do with my mind, things like that. Then communication too is also key, to be honest. If anything happens, now the first person I want to chat up is him. I made a lot of friends here, but they were not my first call, to be honest. So I was intentional. Both of us were intentional about the fact that I have to hear you first, you have to hear you first, that kind of thing. I'm not going to allow anybody to come into me, into my space when I'm vulnerable and, things like that. He's the one I want to talk to first, and then, I think communication, trust, and prayer, and holding on to God, that was very important, praying about it. There are times where you fight, long distance, it's harder to handle fight, long distance. I will even because you can easily just turn off your phone and say you won't talk to the person, and then you create this gap for days, So we were also intentional about trying to settle fights, almost immediately, talk it out, try to settle it, don't let it linger, and things like that. You did a better job at that. Oh yeah, I'm better at that. So, but I think those were the major things. And then anybody that cares to know, then I'll tell you, I have Tolu, I have somebody, I have someone. I was always singing the chorus to everybody. So that you people too can put me in check when I'm when you see that I'm
Yeah.
going the other way. So you can tell me easily that, what about Tolu? What about the yellow man?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
those were the things that kept us
Thank
going.
you so much, Funto. So before he says something, let me tell you, trusting God is not old-fashioned. I don't know how you want to do it. If you're looking for that kind of man that will give you peace, you need to ask God that breeds those men. I'm not even going to lie. All the Gen Zs in the world, comfort, trust God direction. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something very striking about
The two
their
of them. The two of
story,
them, the story.
right? One of the things that God helped them build in spite of the distance was proper communication skills, right? And if I can say this, one of the things that weakens communication in these days is when you let your emotions get ahead of your knowledge, right? So a lot of times, because you are in close proximity, instead of getting to know each other, you're getting to know each other, if you know what I mean. Like you're being sexually engaged, and that takes a good chunk of your, someone said this to me that really helped me. He said, the energy of your soul is very limited. You're actually not as strong as you think you are in your soul when you think about it, right? And that's why no matter what, you still have to rest, right? So we have to be careful about that. When you're being sexually involved with someone, there are things that have been opened up in the walls of your mind that would maybe stop you from properly analyzing or judging other possible character flaws you see in that person, right? So for them, I hear this a lot. Oh, it's because it was long distance. That's why they could build on that. No, that's not true. That's actually not true. Because when it's long distance, it takes a lot more. It takes a lot more because when you're in a relationship, one of the things you actually want to experience, even if you're not sexual, is you want to have that emotional attachment, right? And so just being close to your spouse, there's a feeling it brings to you that they can't experience. So there's a lot of maturity needed for them to know that, okay, even though, she's not there in person, in fact, they just have to be faith people. We're walking by faith, not by sight. And that's a lot more difficult. Long distance is a lot more difficult to build communication compared to when you're in person. So if you can learn that discipline of, being with someone and not being sexually engaged, it would even help you in your marriage. Because when other temptations come, then what do you do? Do you understand? So I just found that really striking, and I wanted to point that out. That was really powerful.
Yeah. Your relationship is intentional, and we could see how it grew. So let me tell you, when you're looking for models, please don't look at Instagram. Yeah, pick real people that you see around. Like I knew Funto, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm part of the people that will say, okay, relationship in Nigeria and Canada, let's see how it goes. And now I can see it's so clear. And then you're looking at one guy. I'm a content person. Before a video starts, there is a setting. Don't be deceived at any prank, whatever. Before a video starts, someone clicked a camera. So all na packaging. So don't be deceived. I say, oh God, am I a spoon? God, am I a potato? You guys should come off that and see real people. See their stages. It wasn't easy. She won't even tell you that it was easy. She will not even tell you that. So let's appreciate them once again. Yeah, I have another person, another amazing person. Well, I don't think we've met one-on-one. This is our first time, but I don't know. Funny enough, I kind of know a bit about you. I'm so vast, like I know a lot about people. So yeah, Fokwe, I guess you got married at your like mid-20s, very early. Not very early. 25. Oh, 25 is pretty much okay. Oh, it's okay. So I'm like, why did you get serious on time? Like some girls still want to eat cookies, like and you're not saying some girls like they want to try guys, they want to date small, they want to get confused more, because eventually that's what leads to that, and they just want to try things. Like when I was younger, there's this thing in my head that I said, I love Chevron big boys and I'm all out for them. And I was looking for them. In fact, thankfully, I was in Lekki. That's the Aziz. And that thing lingered. And my sister even called me, said, when you're done serving, come to Lekki. Don't stay in that Ibadan that you'll be seeing all those yeah boys, all those Yoruba boys, that kind of thing. And maybe in a way that transferred to me, and we call them CBB, Chevron Big Boys. That kind of nonsense. That kind of unserious things. And I won't even say that you guys are different. It happened to everybody. But know the time to drop those stuffs. Please don't stay on it too much. You can have cravings for whatever, but make sure that. So that's why you are in check. That's why you're a child of God. So anything that comes to you like this, you now wait with the word. Does this make sense at all? So we're going to ask Fokwe now. How Fokwe got serious on time with life, with career, and with marriage. Yeah, over to you.
Interesting question. Okay, so I'm a firstborn, first of all, so we don't really get to play around too much.
Yeah.
There's that. And then I think I also grew up with, I've always had older friends. I just always have. Even now, people just always assume I'm older than I am. But so that, I think they call it like Omarugo or something. So there's just a portion of wisdom that comes with working with the older people. So there's that. And then, okay, so it's not like I've always been serious. So I have. But in the relationships sphere, first of all, I always knew that I wanted to get married. And I always knew I didn't want to have sex outside of marriage. And I knew that I wanted to have sex outside of marriage. And then I was like, okay, let me not prolong my suffering. So there was that, first of all. And then that was like my thinking. There's no point dragging this season out if you know that already. There's that. And then there was also, when I was like in my teens, I decided that I didn't want to date because there was just no point. I didn't see anybody dating that I enjoyed what they were doing. It just did not make sense to me. But then at 18, I think I wanted companionships. I found somebody at that time. It was not useful. I think my mother's prayers were like, because she would be knowing things happening in Canada from Nigeria, and like in a lot of detail. So like the Holy Spirit was working over time to reveal things to her. So that ended. But then after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to wait and get serious. Then when I finished undergrad at 20, and then I went to grad school. I was like, this is the season I want to find somebody to get serious with. And in the area I was, they were all very young boys, like I was doing my master's and they were like starting undergrad, so like they weren't in the headspace. So I figured I read a book called How to Find a Date Worth Keeping. I've always been a reader, that's another thing, so I learned from books as well. And the thing was telling me about at least meet people. If you're trying to meet someone to marry, you need to be meeting human beings generally as well. Even though I'm a homebody, that meant I had to be going out more. And I'm like, in church, there are no serious people. So then I had to start planning, okay, how do I meet people? So I started to go for events and like conferences.
Are you jotting?
Jot it down, no. Okay. So I was serious in the sense that like I knew what I wanted to do. I wasn't seeing any people around, but like I wanted to make sure that I was also increasing my chances of meeting people. So I started going out more. I went to one of those events. I think Travis Green came to Hamilton in 2016-ish, and I was in St. Catharines, which is near Niagara. So I went, and I saw an old friend there. So as we were chatting, my now husband was his head of department, so he came to pick him up, stop chatting and come and like work with me. That was our first time meeting. Doesn't remember. And then a couple months later, he came as his pastor's protocol to my church. And apparently, I've always been very active in church as well. I was like, just meeting new people. So we had a conversation, second time meeting. Nothing came of it. And then, because I was also intentional about meeting people when I was not seeing people, I told my friends and my family members that I'm looking to meet people. If you guys know anybody, introduce me.
Yeah.
You all are saying that no men, you have to do things too. Anyways, so I told one of the guy was like, he was like 17 at the time or 18. One of my approach told me, and then it turns out that my husband was his neighbor, and my husband likes to cook, so me likes to eat. So they used to cook and invite him over. So Tommy remembered that I said I was looking for somebody and just told him that, my sister is single, and gave him my number and messaged me that I'm playing Cupid. Like a couple months later, my husband started messaging me, and the rest is story.
Hmm.
So in terms of seriousness, I've known what I wanted. The way I was telling you earlier that like we can't say we want something and not be taking steps towards it. Like there's a level of intentionality with praying, but there's also doing things that you can do. Like so there was that part, and God had mercy on me as well because there is time and chance that God caused to work for me. I have done my bit in being around wise people. I have done my bit in reading books to learn about things I don't know. I have done my bit in taking action, and God has helped me with the rest of it. That's my story.
A round of applause for her. Okay, you have a contribution?
From the process of you being serious to you finding your husband, what's that timeline?
So
That's the question.
I was when you say serious, like
Yeah, like when you said you were ready, like you had intentionality towards it.
so I think 2016 till now is how many years? 7, 2016. So 3 years.
3 years.
So between 2016 and 2019. Yeah.
So you have a lot of work to do as young people. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, I also knew that I did not want to date for long because of said, I'm not somebody that will be getting emotionally attached and not want to also explore. I went from hello to I do in 7 days short of a year. Like first date was like September 7, 2018. We married September 1, 2019. It was real big. I just didn't knew in that sense that I did not want to prolong it. So there's like a level of, if you have a plan, you also can ask, are you in line with this plan? And it's not like, it wasn't like forced, like, yeah, you have to do this plan. It was just more like, if we're on different wavelengths, if you want to do a PhD for 6 years and you don't plan to like be married, maybe we're not a good fit. It might be a thing to have conversations around, but yeah.
Thank you very much for that brilliant contribution. So one of the things I picked from what she said is that she was intentional, she was available, and she was working towards it. I hear some ladies come into church and say, "Oh, there are not guys in this church," and then they leave. You don't want to do that because you have to be working also. You have to make yourself available. There are some places that those guys want to meet you in commitment, in doing few things for God, doing a lot of things for God, investing your time in the right things. You will eventually meet someone. You will find someone. It's not even a big deal. You might not find in church. You might be that person's friend. It might be a friend to your friend to your friend. Like somehow, they didn't really meet like that, but they met through someone. So as much as you're working towards it also, make yourself available and then don't judge right there. Thank you very much for playing. Okay.
One of the questions that coming on in line with this is like most of the younger women are saying, why is there pressure for them to get married quickly? Like, I know you were talking about how quick Kobe was getting to our engagement.
Oh, okay.
How can it do with the pressure of like people really don't want to get married quickly, but it seems like a lot of pressure for the ladies
Pressure. Okay.
to get married.
Anyone wants to answer that? Pressure. Because I won't lie, there are pressure for girls, but I feel also that it depends on what you want to do. It's your life anyways. So you have to really, really be intentional about what you want to do. Like for real, my own story is funny. I'm the only child of my parents. So I would tell you that my mom wanted me to marry when I was in my final year. And she was always say, hey, and then she tagged me, what did she call it? She said I have familiar spirits. That I didn't like guys, And then she will come up with a lot of this. Say, someone told me that people that check guys too much, their suit, their head, their neck, they have familiar spirits. You all that kind of thing. And then, I told us, in fact, there was a guy coming along that time. Maybe I will answer this question. And the guy had done his work. He was friends with my aunts. My hands has been, connecting with my mom. And he's actually he's coming forth, he's so bold. And, there's one thing that I was just, I wasn't comfortable with. And the thing is, anytime he speaks, I see so much pride. I was not comfortable with it. And when I was posted to Ibadan to have my youth service, and then to Oyo State, and then I got posted to Bomosho. And my dad was about it. And I'm like, Daddy, just let me stay there. I'll be fine. And this guy said, oh, you should have told us. Big boys like us, we'll fix you. Like that word didn't, there was a way I'm just like, this guy is so proud. Like, I can't even take, even in that getting to know him, I could not take so much of that. So, and I was sure he really loved me. Like, he was really, really trying to do, is his character this time around? Am I ready to, go all the way till death do me part? Till death does, it's a long journey. So you know what I did? So the pressure we're mounting, he also has, my father is a politician, so he has some political affiliate that he's done all his work. So I was just in the middle. And my mom called me like, even if it is this guy, he's not even bad. If he comes, you will raise your face, you will do this. I said, Mommy, I don't know if I was rude, but I gave her very straight. I said, Mommy, if you like this guy so well, you can leave your husband and date him. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I was too direct. I said, you can leave your husband because you're not considering me that wants to be with this guy. I have seen something that is making me draw back. And you insisting on, because you want to wear lace and dance. No, you're not going to use me to do experiment. And I stated it that, Mom, there are some things with this guy. But if you're trying to pressure me and you love him so well, then go ahead. Maybe you want to leave your husband. And I don't know, one way or the other, she got it straight. It was so direct. She got it straight that, okay, let me leave her. And she backed out, It is now that I knew that I couldn't cope with that kind of man, because my husband is super humble. And I'm so drawn to that. Like, I want to see the work of God in your life. Don't be blabbing. Like, I want to, yes, because God made you. So don't say you are something. That's just me. So if people are putting pressure on you, it's about you knowing who you are first. I knew I could not cope with that guy. We would have broken up. In fact, we would break each other's head. Because, I knew I could not cope with him. For real. I knew it. Don't lie to yourself. Like Fokwe did. Like, Fokwe was honest 100% with herself. If you are at any point in this life right now that you're still lying to yourself, please, life is more real than that. Don't lie to yourself. The job you want to do, whatever you want to do, the things you have planned, there is a way it will work. God does not do magic. He does miracles, though. He doesn't do magic. So one step at a time. If you're not in that space, can you put it well to the parent pressuring you that, oh, I still have to get this done before I do this, and I have my reasons. But if you're admitting to the pressure, and you eventually give in because of parents, they're also understanding. And it's in their place to put you through, though, but make sure that you know yourself in God. Thank you very much. I don't know if anybody has any contribution.
So just to add to that, I mean, you said it, but just a reminder that marriage is a lifetime thing.
Yeah, it's a long
so it's just you and your husband, right? So as soon as they tell you bye-bye after the wedding festivities and things like that, it's just both of you, right? And then more things unleash self in marriage and things like that. So don't forget that at the end of the day, they finish pressuring you, and anything that happens is just both of you. So don't forget that. So don't be under pressure to do what you don't want to do or marry who you don't want to marry.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have something.
Quick.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that sometimes when you get pressure, maybe you shouldn't be scared of pressure. Pressure helps build character. So when there's a lot of pressure, look inwards and see what you need to build so that you don't cave in to pressure. That would, when we were talking about character building in the first session, this is one of the ways that you build character. So you can discern between if it's right counsel or it's just unnecessary pressure.
Yeah, there are lots of pressures, actually. Like, I remember a sister told me that, see, it's not that you have a guy, please, when you want to do introduction, just get pregnant, so that's... And I looked at her, I'm like, that's just another family. People will, see, that's why you have to find your feet in Christ. Unsolicited opinions here and there. People will be bringing it. I just did introduction. and you are telling me to get pregnant. Me that I built all my life with sexual purity, and and I smiled. I didn't want to school her, and I'm like, I don't do that, sis, and I moved on. So that's why you can't be told here and there, and that's why we are telling you guys that the God factor is the first thing that you build first, so that people do not swerve you here and there. The only guidance we have is the scripture. Yeah, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you very much. I want to go to Mr. Tomiwa. Would I say I know you? Okay. I think I have something to ask you, even if I don't know you that much. And I didn't even care to ask anything, but I believe Holy Spirit is leading me to ask this right. We are saying that there are lots of the new breeds, the new men are not taking responsibility, are ungodly, they don't want to, they're not family oriented, and this is what we are faced with in Canada. Even Mr. Tolu said we're spending so much time building the ladies and then the guys are left out. So I want you to tell me your journey in a very short while to giving yourself capacity and Ruth to being a child of God, to being God's breed, as a young person. And then, when you're a God's breed and then you're married, like it will be suiting for your wife. It will be suiting for your wife. So for you to find that kind of guy, I want guys to have one or two things to learn on how you eventually got to that level that you decided for Christ and you wanted to build your world around Christ. Thank you.
Okay. Um, well, I guess the first thing is I was also raised in a Christian home.
Hmm.
But there's a caveat to mine. My parents were divorced, right? So I I didn't I don't have um, I don't have a vivid memory of my parents being together, right? So growing up, that was always a sticking point for me, right? So even though I grew up in a Christian home, I couldn't reconcile parents supposedly being in the faith, but being divorced. I don't know if that makes sense so far. And so, one of the things that I'm grateful to God that my dad did was when I spoke to my parents about the different versions of things. When my mom spoke about the things my dad would do, and I started to see that I was building up a lot of rage against my father. So eventually, when I asked him, "Why did you do these things?" he said, "I did them, and I'm sorry." Right? And that, I can't explain it, but that just calmed me down that, okay, this is a man who did something wrong, but he has repented. And repentance is one of the key fundamental things about the faith, right? The ability to repent when you've done something wrong. So that really helped me a lot, right? And so even when I was in the world as well, one of the things that kept me because of what my dad said was, one, I saw how much pain my mom went through, and because of the fact that my dad was honest about it, I just said to myself, I wouldn't get into a relationship until I'm ready to get married. Because I understood to an extent the gravity, I understood the gravity of a heartbreak. I understood what it felt like to have your friends talking about their parents and you have nothing to say because you're like, it was when I got to school that I hear my mom and my dad, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? It wasn't my reality until I started talking to my friends. So those things, in a way, which sometimes could break some people, God worked it out for my good. So there was that consciousness that every action has a reaction, right? It's like if someone slaps you, you would always feel the pain no matter what. So I don't want to be the one giving an action that will cause hurt to someone, right? So I was very intentional about that. I don't want to break anyone's heart because, okay, yes, I've dated, I've moved on, I've gotten married. But that person, what happened to them? Right? They're still nursing it. That was what was going on with my mom. Right? My dad had truly changed, but she just couldn't, because he made many promises and whatnot. So it was hard for her to move on. Right? So that really, in a way, it was like a moral compass for me. I didn't want to repeat that, right? So I thank God for my dad 100% and my mom as well for being open, about that kind of thing. So that's how I kind of grew up, going through different phases in my life until I came to Canada, to be precise, Ottawa here. And up until then, I had been to different churches, right? But it was only at the church that I am at now that I heard the word. And all I can say is when I heard that word, it was like water being poured on me. It was refreshing to my soul. It's like, where have you been all my life? I had been born again, but it just didn't hit. I can't tell you what the message was, right? But I just knew there was something different about this church and the man of God. And so I stayed, but I still went back to my ways, right? But it was like God just did that to start to establish me, right? And then, so what was the turning point for me was, this is a summary, right? It's just trying to bring up key points. So one of the things that now did it for me was after my first year in university, my grades I flunked pretty much. And my circle of friends, I had to sit down that summer and ask myself just simple questions. Okay, what's going on here, right? I realized, whoa, I'm just wasting money. My circle of friends are not doing it for me. And I just said, there's this God that's, So I decided to take him seriously. And I said to myself then that, you know what, one of the things I would do is I would just cut out my circle of friends, right? That was the one thing that really helped me, because all of a sudden, the church people that I found to be old, not fun, strange, SUs, as you call them, right? Okay, SU's old, I've shown my age, but not fun to be with. I started to realize that these people are very refreshing, right? Not just in, when we talk, but more in their ability to forgive. To forgive. Because back then, we're always fighting. My guys would just fight, forgive, no, I won't forgive, And it was just, it was becoming an issue. But I think that was the turning point for me, because when my circle of friends started to change, my mindset started to change, and then I started to have deeper encounters with God, right? And that's the last thing I'll leave it with, that even when the Lord orchestrates the environment to work out for you, you also have to now take it personal. You have to take it seriously so you can start to have encounters with God. It's those encounters that will keep you grounded at the end, because those environments could change. They could take me out of Canada, take me out of this place, and I'm right there in the wilderness where there's no love for God. And then will I still be looking for an environment that has God in it to be able to thrive? Thank you. Right? So that was it for me.
Thank you very much. It's so refreshing. It's like a whole sermon already. So, I would contribute again that, I do. What I learned from is that instead of a situation to break him, he made him. Now, you've seen a lot of things in your parents that you didn't like, right? Do not make sure you watch out for that. And make sure when you're choosing the next time, when you're getting married, look out for the better version. Okay, my parents didn't make it work. I'm not going to make it work. I'm not even interested. No, that's not the story. The story is you making a better version of it. I would say a story. My dad is outgoing, very, very outgoing. Is a big guy in a way. So I always see my mom at home all the time, waiting for him. always waiting for him. Like, daddy will sit there, daddy will sit there. And you know, my dad is so fun. When he comes, he'll come with suya, he'll come with a lot of things. He will now be giving us gist just to diffuse the hunger in that woman. What happened to the, you know, but mommy didn't like it. At the time I left home for school, right? She was the only one that would always be at home. So when I got to school, I didn't even sweat. If you are too outgoing, club today, clinic tomorrow. If you call me today and I discover that, tomorrow I'm not picking your call. Like for real, it worked for me. I didn't like that. There was a time I confronted him. I said, Dad, I can't date you for a day. He said, He said, leave. You know, we're so close. In my own family, we're so close. He said, leave my wife to date me. Leave it. You go to your husband's house. You're even ready for marriage. I said, please put this woman in your condition. She will be home all day waiting for you. Like, you have friends. So my dad had a family and had another family outside the family. Not even that he has a baby or something. His friends, oh my God. If he did not go out, they'll call him, are you sick? What happened? Guy, show. You know, that kind of thing. And he will always be out there. It's so, in fact, I love him to beat. Like, he's a very sweet guy. But that part of him, he's a very calm person, very nice. So I enjoy kindness from him. I took that. But that part of him, that goes out, I dropped it. So instead of a situation to break you, make sure you look out for it and to look out for possible solution. Like my husband is very, very kind. If you know him, like, I don't even want to start. But you know one thing, he's not outgoing. God help me with that. In fact, he doesn't want to go anywhere. He just wants to be in his house with his wife and all that. And you know, there's a flip side. Now we want to now try to be like, oh, create date nights, and my guy is like, people should leave me, you know. So like now I'm becoming to understand that this is who I married. Maybe I will need to create this if I want it. But it's not that kind of person. So I love the fact that he's always around me and I'm enjoying it. Because my own daddy that was going out, I didn't like it. So the situations in your home doesn't mean you should nullify marriage and to put a stop to it. It's to make you better. You want to be a better version of your parents, you know. So I got that from him. Thank you very much. So let's move to the next person. Orelua, what do I know about you? Okay, fine. Ore, I don't know if I think you went to a school that you were the only black girl, right? In your set or in your school? In the whole school for a while. Okay, she was the only black girl in the school. And you know, chances are that she will likely marry a white guy, you know. So, and maybe she's dating a white guy now. So let's assume that you're dating a white guy. So, like, now being a Nigerian, a black girl, and all that, what do you think about multicultural weddings? Uh, how how sweet are they? And when I mean sweet, I mean, how do you find them interesting? Their vibe. Like, I have a friend that said, I can't even tell you, get out. I can't even tell you, Bossy B, your head is not correct. You take it personal. Me, I can't do white guys or all these protocols. You know that kind of person. So I'm not sure that kind of person is fit for a white guy, you know. So how do you guys vibe? Are they interesting? Are they like yeah. So I want you to say your view about dating someone that is not your color or your race. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the question. Before I say that, I guess I'll give you a little bit of background. So I went to the military college in Kingston, and obviously already it being a military college, it's predominantly men that are at the school, and obviously not a lot of diversity. So I think that was why, like, throughout these conversations that we've been having, I'm very adamant about, like, surrounding yourself with the type of people that you want to end up with. Like, it's not only like marriage, but also friends. Like, your environment is really going to dictate, like, who you end up with and, like, how that influences your life, right? So, leaving Ottawa, from high school and going to Kingston, it was definitely a very big, like, I wouldn't say transition. Yeah, that's the word for it. So like all through high school, like my life was like church, school, home. So like the church community was really like my friends, I would say. So I went from like a Nigerian community to not so much of a Nigerian community. So growing up, I guess 4 years of university really does have an impact on you. So I guess for me, I wouldn't say like I feel any type of way like dating a not Nigerian person versus like my own opinion. I don't think I can date a Nigerian person right now because of the impact of that 4 years of university and how that's kind of affected me. My opinion. God has whatever. I don't know. Like that's just my own personal. So currently I am dating a Caucasian man, but he's. It's so like I said. So the environment that you find yourself in, right? So going to RMC, like obviously yes, most people are white. Most people are not so Christian. So like you have to really be intentional about like your circle of friends and like the places that you go to, because those are the type of people that you're going to end up like partnering with, whether it's like, I don't know, your business, your career, or life. So RMC really impacted like I guess how I've grown up now. So I'm very, I don't know, I don't really see like
I still
white
have the
people as
question.
different.
You don't see them as different, but like their vibe, like are they interesting? I want to know.
Yes,
Are they interesting?
yes, they are interesting.
Their sense of humor?
Yes. Okay. So I think so. I guess my experience so far, just with like my friends and like the guy that I'm dating right now, like obviously sense of humor is super. Like it's different. Being a black person and being a white person, sense of humor definitely different. I think how I've kind of navigated that. At first, yeah. You see this on camera. Okay. Like there was definitely some moments of like fake laughter when like things happen, but like that's, I feel like that's with everything. You meet someone, you're
we're real
polite,
here. We're real.
fake laugh at their jokes, and then obviously when you get to know them better and you guys are like, okay, there are other things I guess that are important and like Christian values that we have together that like mean we can, then I'm like, hey, like maybe that's not so funny, like we have conversations and then you be more honest with yourselves and then you're like, okay, like this isn't working, this is working. I think another thing. Food, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm already not. I guess like the 4 years at RMC really like impacted me as
Prepared
a person. Really impacted me as a person. So those 4 years, I don't think my diet really changed too because I only ate what was available there, right? And like with RMC, like we stayed on campus, we ate food on campus the 4 years. So like I ate what they gave me. So right now, like I was like, whether I have jollof rice or fried rice or pounded yam, like I think I can go the rest of my life without eating any of those, honestly. So like I'm very like, with food wise, like we're not very different because he also went to RMC, so we eat the same things. Like like how we see each other, I guess with like the future and like with cooking and things like that, like he's not expecting me to cook for him. I'm not coming in being like, oh, I'm going to be preparing food and dinner and all that stuff for you. Like it's a very like shared, both our thoughts on it is it's going to be like shared and like super partner. It doesn't have to be 50-50, but like he cooks, I cook. We do what we want. Everybody cooks. Like it's fine. And everybody eats, yeah. I think another thing I want to... Family, and just, before I go into family, just respect-wise, I think a big difference I found with, I would say, like, the Western culture and, like, African culture, respect is there's a big gap in, like, our understandings of what respect means. Like, I guess, from my experience, his name is Adam. For Adam, like, respecting me is him giving me my space to do what I want to do. But I feel like for African, like nobody thinks like like somebody giving you your space is not really like, you're not like, how's that respect? But aren't we together? We're community, like we're doing everything together. Like for example, let's say church service just ended and I'm like still in worship. I'm still worshiping. He's not going to like worship with me. He's going to say, oh, she needs her personal space, and like I feel like he's done worshiping, so he's going to go do something else. But I want him to stay and worship with me. So like that's an example of just like a small like that can be fixed with communication. I think it's just like what respect means to me and what respect means to you. Like I don't think you're disrespecting me by like not giving me my space in that sense. So I think it's just small example, but just things like that. And like I think Western communities they ask a lot, like ask for your permission, like. But African people, we're not very like polite. I would say polite. We're not very like we don't respect people in that way, and we don't deem it like respect or disrespectful to like ask someone before you encroach on their space. So I think that was a very big like just communication will fix it. Like I don't need you to ask me before you like hold my hand. Like it's fine. Like you can just hold my hand. Like you know what I mean? Like just things like that. And family. He's come from a really good background. So I really thank God for that. So his parents are like both know they're Christians. They both know the Lord. So like, and he was raised in a Christian, like with Christian values. So like we're, like I really thank God for that. So we're really on the same page with also how I was raised. So it's not really much
difference.
I would say.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. It's another like another side of it. So now we're in with Dr. Jennifer now. I have a question for you, Dr. Jennifer. I'm actually big on dating smart. I'm very, very big on dating smart. Like I kind of love myself. You know, the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. So I don't get to love you more than myself while we're dating, because I'm always like, this is not the end of the road. If you want to marry me, go meet my daddy. So by that time, I will know that I'm not a fully committed person in dating personally. Reasons known to me. I don't want my heart to be shattered. So I feel it's a smart way to just guard yourself. You need your heart intact for the right guy. You need your heart intact, because if you bruise before you meet the right person, right, you're going to give him very, very wrong vibes, and it's not even his fault. Some people have deposited all those poisons in you, and then you just be unleashing it. So for me, I guard my heart. Like I remember a story. There was this guy that said, "Oh, come visit me in Ibadan." He was in medical school. And I'm like, "Oh, can you call my mom?" And he's like, you know, I know he wouldn't want to call my mother that your daughter is coming to visit me in school, but it's my smart way of saying I am not supposed to visit you now. We're still talking, and we're not even trying to get married, right? So we've not gotten to that stage. And I said, you can tell my mom. And then if my mom, and I know my mother, so if my mom tells me, you know, I'll come. So dating smart is a big thing for me, because I feel your heart is, if your heart is fresh, if you don't have too much things to deal with, you will be open and you will just be kind to your partner. But when you are putting somebody that broke your heart has left, and then you are punishing the new person, you know? So why don't you guard the limit of dating? And then give what dating takes. Dating, they call it dating, not marriage. Dating, what is dating? Hang out, know about ourselves, this and that. And then we're thinking of more emotional things like sex in dating. And you know, I feel myself and Dr. Jennifer is handling this, so I would say some factors about it, and then she will say the health side of it. So I feel there's a way, and then girls play this card of, oh, I enjoyed myself, we're fine, we're good. But why are you angry that he left you? If you don't feel like, this guy has really taken something from me. Yeah, if you don't feel it. So I don't want to put myself in that situation that I feel hurt, that I feel really, really deeply hurt. So I had, as smart as I was, I had one breakup. Let me gist you. So, so like Like it took us a long time to. I was telling you that I date for a long time. We are still talking 1 year. I don't care until your values align with my values. So this guy, we've watched ourselves for some time, and it's like, okay, it's promising, but for some reasons it feels, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money to date heritage. Some guys are always scared and all that. And I'm like, okay, fine. You have a good grade, you'll get better jobs. Don't worry, and all that. And we got into it. And at a point, I said, oh, I want to go for my master's in Unilag. I don't. So we need to talk. He wasn't calling. And he would give me excuses of, I am busy, I don't have so much money, they did not pay my salary. And I'm like, 100 naira recharge card. You don't want to call. So I was trying to know, maybe he doesn't have money to call, or he's not interested in calling me. I was just trying to guide my thoughts. And a lot of people will come around and I'm like, I have a boyfriend. I was always screaming to them, I have a boyfriend. And one of my big brothers, he's like an uncle to me. Then he was working in Walmart. He was just my friend. And he's like, so there was this guy coming to me that time and telling me, I said, this guy is distracting me in my relationship. I have a relationship. And my friend, he's an older guy, he said, a guy cannot say he's dating you for marriage. You're here. I've not seen him. Come say hi for 6 months. Maybe you need to see him to know maybe you are the one dating him or you are dating yourself. And for the longest time I've been guarding, like I would talk, I'm in a relationship, I can't date you. And that thing, I said, really? I thought I was the bad person in this relationship. Now this guy is quiet, he doesn't mean harm. So we tried to meet in Lagos. I traveled to Lagos to see my sister, and then I organized the meeting. And then he said, oh, and look at my MSc, this thing. I just got this MSc thing doing, so we need a break. A guy has never given me a break in my life. In fact, it was my first shot at being serious. My mother is always like, you're not always serious, because I don't even want to date. Leave me, don't stress me, And he said, let's have a break. I said, a break? He said, yes, I want to figure out MSc. I want to figure out this. I said, fine. MSc, you went to get MSc form, but you didn't have 100 naira to call. So now I'm knowing where, fine. It's not that you don't have money. I'm not one of your priorities. So I don't deceive myself. If anybody in this world I don't deceive myself. So I got that I wasn't a priority at that time. And I got the fear of, it's just so overwhelmed with the fact that it feels it needs a lot to keep up. When you think some girls have it easy and you grew up struggling, you're like, these girls, Awala is going to be too much for me, So I understood him and I said, okay, let's have this break for real. No problem. And I'm like, okay, I've learned a lot dating you. It's not even a bad thing. I've learned so much. Thank you very much. Shed some few fake tears and I left. I will not lie, it was fake. It was fake. So I got home that day. I got to Lekki and I just went to all these chicken people. I bought chicken, bought yogurt, called my sister's daughter. Let's eat. I said, what happened? I said, I'm celebrating breakup. I'm telling you this because there was nothing attached. Nothing broke my heart too much. It was my time. And even that time, I learned some things. I learned that I should listen to a guy. Because at that time, I was always like, whenever I want to say something, I will have something to say. I always have something. So it felt so overwhelmed by my personality. And I learned that thing there and there, that the next relationship I'm going to have, I would allow the guy talk. I will listen. I'm not going to unleash all my ideas that very day. You understand? I learned that. But I'm telling you, did it really get to me, like breaking me down? No, because we really did not have any sexual interaction. It was just, it was a church boy. So So you okay? Come and tell me that you want to do otherwise because I knew you to be this. You know that kind of thing. So we had our moral balance. So that's why I'm telling you that dating smart. You can date. My relationship might not work. It's fine if we did not hold ourselves something like tabajera nigbese. I don't know if you did not hold to something that is dear to my heart, and so like dating smart means that you value yourself and you're protecting your own peace and space. Let me tell you for a fact, ladies, you're the one that will decide what you want to do for yourself. Don't think that any guy has your interest at heart and wants to protect you. Don't put your life in anybody's hand. Just make sure anything you want to do, you're really, really at it, and you make sure you spell it out. You understand? So that breakup did not do much for me. Yeah. So that's my thing of this. So if it really did so much for me, I will tell you in less than from that time to within 6 months, I did introduction. Because I had someone that was looking at me, and I thought I was in a relationship, Abby. And when the relationship left, I went to that person and said, "I'm available. Let's carry on." You know, one thing. Let me shock you. I said, So he said, "Happy married life." He said, "Happy married life." I said, thank you. And thank you for not making me to miss my gold. Because this one I've got is the new gold. And he said, "Oh, you always live around Gold Coast." So he knew that I always have friends that wants to date me, but I keep them as friends. So I am saying personally that I do not really put my emotions and heart into that relationship and offering things that married people offer. Like, I'm just a single girl. Cook. I cooked for myself. So, like, for real, if you want to guide your heart, you really need to be intentional about yourself. That doesn't mean you will be mean. That doesn't mean you'll be unkind. No, you can be kind. You can do things for people. But you know what not to do. Why are you doing it? Because of love. It's not love. Because that is not love in the first place. Thank you very much. So, yeah. Dr. Jennifer has another view of, and that's where we're rounding up today, in a way. She has another view of dating smart and the effects of not dating smart medically. She's a doctor. So, go ahead.
Thank you, Heritage. So I'll just try to make this as quick as possible. So I'll just piggyback off what she said. I mean, I know that people are going to date anyways. So no matter what we say today, people are still going to go and have relationships. But I will speak from the preventative, okay? So if you're going to date, one of the ways you can date smart as a Christian, now because the Christian environment is this: don't give more than what you are supposed to. For example, you shouldn't be having sexual intercourse or sex activities in a dating or relationship, okay? Because when those relationships, don't work, and the man walks away, you end up, as a lady, you end up with an emotional heartbreak. The man as well, although my brother did say to us initially that men just do these things and they have no, connection, but over time, it tends to affect the man as well. So dating smart, try to not give more than what you're supposed to, sexual activities especially, okay? I'm not sure if you're able to project for me Proverbs chapter 21, verse 9, and then we'll also look at 19, because I try to go to the Bible just to find a Bible verse that can support what I'm going to talk about today, okay? So he says, it's better to live alone in the corner of an attic than with a quarrelsome wife in a lovely home. The Message version says different. Instead of using the word wife, it says spouse. Okay, so male and female, right? So what this verse is pretty much saying to us, what 9 and 19, is that if you don't date, have a relationship, or marry smart, it could affect you. Okay? Now imagine what being in the wild, like a wilderness. You know how when you talk about wilderness experience? When someone is in the wilderness, when you're in the desert, imagine what that means or looks like. I don't think anyone really wants to be there. Okay, but if you don't do it right and date smart or marry smartly, you will end up with issues. So when the Bible says you are better off in the wilderness, which is already a bad place, than with a quarrelsome spouse, it means that if you're this kind of person, you will have problems. Now, most of the issues that people tend to face when they don't date smart are mostly emotional, like mental health issues. Okay? People end up with anxiety, depression, and I'm sure some of you probably have heard about people who commit suicide because of the relationships that didn't go well or they are currently in. Okay? So dating smart basically means ensuring that the people that you're with, it's a good thing. Like the things they bring to your life are actually good than not. Does that make sense? I'll give you 2 examples. Now, the characters in my examples are going to be fictional, but this really happened. I remember one particular day I was working in the ED, an emergency unit, and I had to see a patient. Okay? And the patient, the female, hypothetical age, she had come into the hospital because she was having chest pains. Okay? Now, when you see a female with chest pains, a lot of things go through our mind. So we do a basic workup of the things that are important to us that we cannot afford to miss. So when we did these investigations, and then before going to see this patient, had gone through her investigations, her labs, her history that at least the nurses got for me, and I didn't see anything that was concerning. Okay? So, but she came in with chest pain, and that's important. So in my head, I had to figure out a plan for her. Now, the ED is a very acute setting. You come in, you have an issue, we deal with it, we send you home. Now, if we can't deal with it, we keep you. Okay? So I'm going to see her, and at that time, she was already scrolling on her phone, just chatting with her. Oh, so what brings you here? How do you feel right now? I kind of feel okay. So I told her, give me the story. What happened? And she gonna tell me, yesterday, the night before, I was at home, I had this chest pain, I could not breathe. And so I asked her, so what happened after? Well, it kind of got better. I went to bed, I woke up this morning, I was fine. I went to work, and while at work, I started to have chest pains again. I was like, okay, that's quite interesting. So I had to take her back to what happened yesterday. So before your chest pain came up, what was happening to you? Because we want to know, what up that chest pain. She told me, when I was talking to a friend, and the conversation really got heated, and before helping him, he went off the phone. Then a few minutes later, I began to have chest pain. Now, she didn't tell us or tell my nurses that story. She just told the nurses that I have chest pain. Okay, so I realized, okay, so maybe the conversation with this person, that's cool. And then what about at work? Well, nothing, I was just at my desktop working and I had chest pains again. Okay, that's fine. And I had to ask her, so when was the last time you were in the hospital? She told me 6 months ago. I was like, what did you come in for? I had an abortion. Okay. Now, because it's an ED, we do physical ailments, like things like abortion is not really my, emotional issues are not really things that I kind of pursue. So I just wanted to just ask for the sake of it. Okay, so you had an abortion, was it planned or it was intentional? Was it not? Well, it wasn't intentional. So that means it was intentional because, the person she was in a relationship with, I guess, didn't want the pregnancy. So I asked her further questions. So, are you married? No. So where is this person? He's not in the country. Oh, are you from the country where he's from? No. So just getting this story, and then this was the same person she was talking to on the phone the day before. So you can see that she had come into my ED with physical chest pains from a conversation that she probably had with the guy. Maybe I don't know how, but sometimes when patients have physical issues, it could, when patients have emotional problems, it could affect you physically. So that basically, because again, like I said, we often go off what we do when we do investigate the patient. So if there's nothing, if it's clean, you have a clean record, we have to figure out what else. So for me, that was pretty much what it was. So I said to her, you know what, it's possible that your chest pains, and from my own perspective, there's nothing sinister that's going on, nothing really serious from a medical point. So I'll have to discharge you, send you home. If you do feel the same way again, of course, come back to ED. We'll be happy to have you. Now, I went on from that conversation thinking about this. Wow. This is an example of how not dating smart could affect a person. Okay, so if you ignore the flags. Now, maybe these two people, maybe they have a plan, maybe they plan to get married soon, but the idea that, there's sexual activity that led to a pregnancy that you had to let go of, and it also looked like even the relationship itself was also straining on her, and leading her to come into my ED. You can see how that could actually affect anybody. One of the things that I see happen to a lot of people is that you tend to have cardiovascular issues when you're stressed. A bad relationship can stress you out. You can end up with high blood pressure, people end up with diabetes and all of those things. I had a very interesting encounter when I was being introduced to a guy. Now this guy happens to be, a friend that I was introduced to. And so he was talking to me from the place of having to have a relationship. And he said to me, I need to know that if I get with you, that I will not end up with non-communicable diseases. Now, as a physician, I had to sit down and think about that. Now, that's a very smart question. Because he was literally saying to me, is there anything about you that will literally stress me out, that will push me into having a cardiovascular issue, high blood pressure? Now, these things are real. Now, I felt that was smart. I mean, that's the first time I heard that kind of question. But I realized that that's actually really not a bad question to ask somebody, or at least to observe for. Okay, you can observe the person you're with. Will this person stress me, push me into, physical health issues? This is a reality. Okay, so I guess the whole point of this dating smart is be very intentional about the people you get with. When you get into a relationship, you should have a goal. Are we getting to a marriage? If we are, what are the steps we are taking? As a Christian, you shouldn't be involved in sexual activity until you're married. Now, that's what we preach. I know a lot of people will probably say, oh, that's old-fashioned. But there are repercussions for going the opposite way. Of course, there are sexual transmitted, there are STDs, there's HIV, there's unwanted pregnancy. All of these things are real. Okay? So just look out for that. Now, if you also do not date smart as a person, it could also affect your productivity at work and also at school. Okay? So be very, very intentional, be very careful as to who you get with. If the person you are with is, you notice that it's just too much stress, too much, you should probably analyze that whole situation and see if it's worth it. And if it's not worth the stress, then you need to pull out and find somebody, get somebody who would not, give you that amount of stress. So stress over time builds up. It does. Unfortunately, when people say, oh, high blood pressure, my family doesn't have high blood pressure. Where did this come from? How did this happen to me? It actually affects people. I know of someone who had anxiety and depression, and all she kept talking to me about was, it was my husband. He pushed me into this. Now I have anxiety because of him. I'm depressed because of him. So these kind of things, as Christians, we shouldn't, be, I guess, put, yourself into it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jennifer. So we have it balanced there. We have the medical view. We have married people. We have person dating the white guy, and a lot of balance here. I really worked on this panel. I wanted everybody to have a bit of perspectives, and I really, really enjoyed it today. And that is why this will be coming up every season. During fall, we'll have one, winter, autumn, and summer. We're building a community of young people coming together, relaxed, have fun, very good atmosphere, and then mingle together. We're building a safe space for every one of us because it's kind of weird out there. I don't know, or wild out there. So I think we're coming to the end of the program right now. We're done with the panelists. You want to give them a round of applause? Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you. I hope we learned a lot. I want to entertain just one question from the whole house. If you have one thing to say, maybe someone have not said your mind today, just one person. Just one person, if nobody have said your mind today. Okay. I think we have all, yeah? Yeah, if you have anything to say, maybe they've not said one thing, they've not touched one area. Okay, it's all covered. Let me invite Lemuel, the host, to continue as we go into our buffet. Thank you very much, guys.
Let's give another round of applause to all the panelists. Thank you all for coming through. There's nothing else to continue, but we have food for everyone that's here. There's some food, there's some drinks at the back. So we're going to be playing some music, so slowly just go to the back. Someone will be there to help and assist you as you eat. So there's various things to, like, not only feed your relationship, but also feed your belly. So we'll go for that. So let's give a round of applause to everyone that planned this event. I also want to thank everyone that planned the event. I want to thank our planning committee. I want to thank Mrs. Ayeleso for just being point guard on this and running this to the end. I want to thank our pastor for also allowing us to use this space to host. If you liked it, if you have any feedback, please let us know. Let us know what you would like on improvement, what you would like us to do different next time. And we'd love to see you. But yeah, feel free to grab some food. We'll be playing some music. And then from there, we can head home. Thank you all.